Meeting call to order. Good evening, friends, and I welcome each one of you to this last meeting of the month of May. And we have a number of youngsters here. I think we need to have more of young speakers to attract the youngsters to our meetings. Thank you so much. We have a number of guests who have graced this occasion. I would like to recognize them, but before that, may I request Speaker S. Vineet to occupy his seat on the dais. The young. Yeah. We have this young speaker, S. Vineet, who is pursuing his CA final, and he is very much into the Hinduism, the Vedanta philosophy. He keeps reading a lot of Swami Vivekananda's, the works of Swami Vivekananda. And then he asked me the other day, this is we are celebrating, the entire nation is celebrating the 150th birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda, the national hero. And did you have any speaker meeting or any programs has Rotary organized? And then I said, yes, of course, in Hyderabad North had organized a program. And would you like to be a speaker? And he said yes. So here he is. May I request his friend Vaibhav to just introduce him? Because I think a friend can do better justice than the parents or any other elder, senior Rotarian.
Hello everyone. Hi, I am Vaibhav. I am very happy to attend the meeting. This is the first time that I am attending a meeting. I'd like to introduce Mr. Vineet. He did his schooling from HPS Begumpet. He is currently pursuing his CA, and he's a big fan of Sachin Tendulkar, Narendra Modi and Atal Bihari Vajpayee. His hobbies include singing, reading and playing games, though he doesn't look like that if he play games, but still he loves to play cricket and tennis. He's a very friendly and fun-loving nature. He's always helpful to me. Now I'd like to present, come over the dais.
He's my son Vineet, who did his schooling from HPS, and he is into public speaking. He has attended quite a few competitions, and I think it was in Calcutta that he received Bangalore. From which? I don't remember. Generally, the mothers are the last to know about the child's achievements. So, before handing over the mic to Vineet, I would like to once again thank all of you because you've spared your time and you're here. Your presence means a lot to this youngster. He needs all your good wishes and blessings. Thank you so much. Over to Vineet.
Thank you, Vaibhav, for that nice introduction. Sisters and brothers of America, it fills my heart with joy unspeakable to rise in response to the warm and cordial welcome you have given us. I thank you in the name of the most ancient order of monks in the world. I thank you in the name of the mother of all religions. And I thank you in the name of millions and millions of Hindu people of all classes and sects. Respected ladies and gentlemen, this was a small passage out of Swami Vivekananda's historic speech on 11th September 1893 in Chicago at the Parliament of Religions. Ladies and gentlemen, to say that I am immensely privileged this evening to be addressing this club would be a genuine understatement. I say this because to me this club is a rare gathering of right-thinking individuals. I say this because this club to me is an assembly of persons who genuinely think that service is definitely above self. I say this because this club to me is an institution which is on the threshold of carrying in its bosom 50 glorious years of selfless service. Friends, before I move on to the issue that I would be attempting to address, I feel that it is important for myself to introduce myself in the context of Hinduism. Even though I have been so beautifully introduced by my friend, I would like to introduce myself to all of you in the immortal words of Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, our former Prime Minister, and I quote, "होकर स्वतंत्र मैंने कब चाहा है कर लूं जग को गुलाम, होकर स्वतंत्र मैंने कब चाहा है कर लूं जग को गुलाम, मैंने तो सदा सिखाया है कर ले अपने मन को गुलाम। गोपाल राम के नाम पर कब मैंने अत्याचार किए, सारी दुनिया को हिंदू करने कब मैंने घर घर प्रयास किए। भूभाग नहीं हर मानव के हृदय को जीतने का निश्चय, हिंदू तन मन हिंदू जीवन रग रग हिंदू मेरा परिचय। अनकोट। Friends, if India today is still alive and vibrant with its 5,000-year-old ways of life, it is because this country has been audaciously consistent in producing religious masters and spiritual teachers who have been consistently coming, rejuvenating India's children and reminding them of their priceless legacy. One such teacher, friends, was Swami Vivekananda. But he was different from the rest, because he not only took his convictions on Hinduism to the hearts of millions, but also supported each conviction with scientific and irrefutable justification. Before I move on to try and explain the essence of Hinduism based on Swamiji's ideals, I would like to share with you a few views of Swami Vivekananda on various issues which are very relevant to our country today. On India as a nation, Swamiji said, if there is any country in the world today which can claim to be the land where humanity has reached its highest towards gentleness, towards generosity, towards purity and towards calmness, it is India. If there is any land in the world which can claim that it has reached its pinnacle in introspection and spirituality, it is India. These ideals are relevant today because people who are in charge of governing us and taking care of India's children are today suffering from an acute deficiency of nationalism. On women, Swamiji says, the ideal of womanhood in India is the mother first and the mother last. In the West, the ideal of womanhood is the wife. In a Western home, the wife rules. In an Indian home, the mother rules. The essence of this ideal, friends, is that we need to identify motherhood in each woman and give her respect for that. We need to respect either the mother or the potential mother in every woman. On physical contact between man and woman, Swamiji says, it is the greatest prayer between a man and a woman, because it is going to bring into this world a new soul with infinite energy. Is it a joke? Is it a simple nervous satisfaction? Is it a brute enjoyment of the body? No. To a Hindu, 1,000 times no. Friends, these ideals on women and on physical contact between man and woman, these ideals may sound pretty lofty, pretty impossible, impracticable to us, because we are being continuously subjected to what I would call objectification of women. And to some modern people, these ideals may sound outdated, primitive. But in a modern India, where a rape takes place every 20 minutes, to consider these ideals as primitive and outdated would mean being insensitive to our unfortunate sisters. Let us try. We may not live up to these ideals. We may not entirely succeed in treating every woman as a potential mother and giving her respect for that. We may not entirely succeed in considering physical contact as a prayer. But if we imbibe these ideals, we will definitely succeed in ensuring that not a single woman in India is perceived as an object. On character building, Swamiji says, every thought that comes to our mind is not going to die down after it subsides. Rather, it leaves behind an impression which represents its future possibility of returning back to us. For example, I am sitting alone in my balcony and I think of Sholay as a great movie and that Amjad Khan was fabulous. I then move on, do my other small things, and months together later, years together later, when I'm amongst my friends and movies are discussed, and when Sholay is discussed, I will reel out, Sholay was a great movie, Amjad Khan was fabulous. Because that thought had left behind an impression. And so our character is nothing but a collection of thousands and thousands of such impressions on our mind. And therefore, how do we build a good character? If one were to imbibe Swamiji's ideals, deliberately think of good things, you will have a good character. You don't have to turn pages and pages of best-selling authors to build a good character. Friends, Swamiji also said that no one is inferior. We often tend to encounter certain people who are better than us in respect of doing certain things. And at times we may feel dejected. Why are we not as good as them? Why are we not able to do things as nicely as them? During such times, Swamiji says, remind yourself of that beautiful incident in Lord Ram's life. The monkeys were carrying mountains, loads of sand, loads of forest branches for constructing the mammoth Ram Setu so that their Lord could go to Lanka. But there was one little squirrel which was rolling itself in the sand, running to the bridge, shaking its back, rolling itself, running to the bridge, shaking its back. What was it doing? Contributing tiny particles to the mammoth Ram Setu. The monkeys were amused. They were laughing. But when Lord Ram saw, he said, and I quote, "Blessed be that little squirrel. Blessed be that little squirrel, for it is doing its work to the best of its ability. And it is as great as the greatest of you monkeys." Unquote. On how to control our mind, Swamiji says that we often find ourselves in a position where our mind continuously generates thoughts which we are not able to control, which we do not want it to generate. What do? In Swamiji's words, our mind sometimes behaves like a monkey which has drunk the wine of desire and has been stung by the scorpion of jealousy. Yes, it happens. What do we do at such times? Swamiji says, let those thoughts come, give it a free run. How long will it come? 1 day, 2 days? It will eventually subside and you will conquer your mind. This thought was seconded again decades later by another profound master, Sri Rajneesh, fondly called as Osho. So friends, these were certain small snippets regarding certain values which we can definitely imbibe in our lives even today. Now coming to the essence of Hinduism based on Swamiji's ideals. Friends, today there are 3 religions which stand before us that have come from prehistoric times: Zoroastrianism, Judaism, and Hinduism. While Judaism, all the 3 have received tremendous shocks. While Judaism failed to conquer its daughter Christianity and was driven out of its place, Zoroastrianism, the grand old religion of Zoroastrianism, is represented by a handful of Parsis today. Even the religion of Vedas received tremendous shocks. Sect after sect arose within India. Foreigners invaded India. They seemed to shake the very foundation of the Vedic religion. But, like the waters of the sea during an earthquake, the religion of the Vedas receded. Receded only for a while. Receded only to return in an all-absorbing flood, 1,000 times more vigorous. And once the turmoil ended, all these sects were assimilated and absorbed into the mother faith, the Vedic religion. And so from the lofty thoughts of the Vedanta philosophy, before which latest discoveries of modern science seem like echoes, to the lower ideals of idol worship with its multifarious mythology, from the agnosticism of the Buddhists to the atheism of Jains, all are a part of the Hindu way of life. The Hindus have received their religion through revelation and realization, collectively known as the Vedas. The Hindu believes that the laws contained in the Vedas are without beginning or end. This may seem ridiculous to some modern people. How can there be something without a beginning or an end? How can you say that this was always there? But just like the laws of gravity would have existed and will continue to exist even if Newton had not noticed that apple. Just like that landmass called America would have existed and will continue to exist even if Christopher Columbus didn't stumble upon it. The laws contained in the Vedas would have existed, will continue to exist even if all of us forgot about it. Friends, the Hindu believes that the process of creation is without beginning or an end. Creation is without an end. We will have many takers to this theory because the world has certainly not ended in December 2012 as it was supposed to. But creation is without a beginning. We will definitely have people contesting this Hindu belief that creation is without a beginning. Let me try to answer this theory in a scientific way. If creation had a beginning, it would have begun at a certain point in time. If creation had begun at a certain point in time, what was there before that certain point in time? There was nothing. So where was all this energy and where was God? He was in a potential form, inactive form. So then we must say that before creation, God was potential and inactive, and after creation, He became kinetic and dynamic. Any scientist would agree that anything which is potential and kinetic is mutable. Anything which is mutable is a compound, and every compound has to undergo destruction. So if we begin to believe that creation had a beginning, we are saying that God is a compound and God has to undergo destruction? That is absurd. And so therefore, there was never a time when there was no creation. Creation was always there. And therefore the Hindu belief, the 5,000-year-old belief that creation has no beginning or end, stands firm like a rock. The Hindu also believes that he is not the body. The Hindu believes that he is an energy contained in this body, and that this energy will remain even if the body perishes. Friends, this profound thought came to our forefathers 5,000 years ago. And thousands of years later, when the Western scientists stood up and said, energy can never be created nor destroyed, it can only be transformed, the Hindu smiled to himself and said, this thought came to my forefathers 5,000 years ago. But he didn't say this with pride. He accepted the Western realization with humility. Friends, the Hindu believes in God. But the idea of God did not come to the Hindus by a mere figment of someone's imagination, but it came after rigorous and intense introspection, which was triggered by a question. The question that stimulated the senses of the Vedic sage. And what was that question? Is man a tiny boat in a tempest, where one moment he is on the comfortable foamy crests, and the next moment there is every chance of him being smashed to a rock and broken into pieces? Is man a tiny boat, so helpless and powerless, thrown here and there by the waves, by the uncompromising currents of cause and effect? Is he like a tiny insect among millions who the wheel of time has to crush and will crush without caring or without giving a damn to the widow's tears or the wails of an orphan? The heart sinks at this thought, but yet it is the law of nature. And so the Vedic sage asked himself, is there no hope? Is there no escape? And after centuries of self-seeking and introspection, the Vedic sage stood up and said, and I quote, "Hear all of you, my children, hear me. We are all children of immortal bliss. I have seen that ancient one. I have known that ancient one. I have seen God. I have known God. And you know where He is? He is within us. and knowing Him alone, you will find peace, unquote. And so the Hindu believes that everyone is the child of God. He believes that God resides within everyone. What is the nature of this God? The Hindu says that this God is pure, this God is formless. And how to worship Him? The Hindu says love. The Vedas say the God can be worshipped only through love. The rituals, the mantras, the slokas are all expressions of this love, profound expressions of this love. Friends, another complex ideal of Hinduism is idol worship. Many critics of Hinduism have audaciously questioned this 5,000-year-old religion by posing a question, which is, when your Vedas say that God is pure and formless, why do you have temples? Why do you indulge in idol worship when your own Vedas say that God is pure and formless? I shall be attempting to answer that question. Friends, we cannot think of anything without calling up a mental image in our minds. The material image triggers a mental idea. The mental idea triggers a material image. We look at a chili, spice comes to mind. We think of an apple, the bright red fruit appears.